What is up, fish people, and welcome back to another episode. Today's video, we're doing a tie and test video where I'll be showing you how to tie the Squirmy Wormy and showing you some test results that I got from last weekend at Passage Creek. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. To start off, you're going to want a size 12 hook. I found these to be a good size for Squirmy Wormies. Nothing really too special, just a typical scud hook. And so we'll start by just removing of the barb. I typically like to remove the barbs because they make fishing safer for the fishermen, so you don't hook yourself or people around you, and also for the fish, especially if you're planning to release them, less damage to the fish. Funny thing actually is we went fishing at Passage Creek, like you'll see in the test footage later on, and I accidentally hooked my brother because I was using a fly that was not barbless, and so I accidentally hooked him, which was really bad. Sorry about that, Hunter. But back to the video. To weigh this fly down, I have it securely in the vise, but to weigh this fly down, I'll be using 0.02 lead wire, and I'll be taking about, I'd say, six or seven wraps around the shank. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Never mind, more than that. 7, 8, 9, 10. That looks about good. About 10 wraps. So you essentially just want to get a good portion of the shank covered with lead, enough to the point where you believe that your fly will sink fairly well. And that looks pretty good to me. And I'm just taking the tag end and flipping it around, making sure everything's uniform, lining it right in the middle. So once we have that down, I'll take my pink fluorescent thread, and I'm using pink because I'm using these pink worms, and so I wanted to do something that matches similar to the material I'm tying with. And so I'll get my bobbin and I'll make a little dam right behind the lead wraps, and this will secure the thread and lock it in place. And then I'll go quickly over the top of the lead and again make another dam right at the front of the lead, and this will hold the lead because we have dam here, this thing's not going to move very much. I can go ahead and snip the excess off because we've already secured it in place. And just fix that lead a little bit more. And then I'll take this thread and work my way back just to try to cover up some of this lead so it's not as visible to see under the squirmy body material. So I'm going to go ahead and just cover it very lightly. A little tip is that if your thread just isn't really holding on to the lead that well, you can try to spin it in order to flatten out the string so it covers more surface and it sits more on top of the wire. So that's looking pretty good. You'll notice I missed like a little part up here, but that's not very important because you're going to be covering it with this squirmy material anyways, as you saw on the body of this one. So you're not going to see it too much, but it just helps with some of the discoloration when you pull this over it. So what you typically do is just take your material off its main part. You'll clip it right there, and then what I like to do is actually, once I've clipped that off, I'll take my material, fold it in half, and then I'll just cut it. I'll pull this down and just snip right there, boom. But I've already done that, so this is about a size segment you want right here. It's about 1.5 inches. This is just my personal favorite size, but you can do whatever size you like. In order to lengthen your worm properly, what I like to do is go about halfway. So that's about the halfway point, and then I just take one little step forward, and that's about where I'll probably anchor my worm. And so that anchor point, which is a little bit further down than half, I'll put right where we made that initial dam. And what you need to be careful of is that since this material is so stretchy and thin, when you take wraps over it, you can easily cut right through it. And so what I like to do, as you just saw, is take this and just layer it over. Take your bobbin and your thread and just lay it over very lightly. Do that about 2 times. You can use your finger like this if you need to, just to let it down gently so it doesn't cut through the squirmy wormy material, making sure it's positioned the way you want it. And then once you have it lined on the hook correctly, which means having the worm in line with the hook, so that looks about good. Then I'll go ahead and move this thread back to the front where we started, and now you can see we're securely in place, and now I'm ready to start wrapping. So at this point, I'll take my front material and begin wrapping. This one could have been a little better. My tail's like coming off a little bit to the side. So what I can do if I want to go back to adjust it, just undo this real quick. Just like you would when making any fly. Making sure it's straight and then go back up. Redo this step. Yep. It's as easy as that. And for the first time you make this fly, you will for sure certainly have to adjust your material because it's a little tricky getting used to this very elastic material. And so I take about, I think that's 4, 5 wraps up, kind of spreading the body in a way that you find aesthetically pleasing. I think about 4 or 5 wraps looks about the most I can get on this fly. Then I'm going to take my thumb, hold it in place, or hold the front of the material in place and take one loose wrap across the top, and you'll notice that that also holds this front side up. And so now it's just a matter of doing that wrap and making sure that your front side lines up how you want it. So you may have to go back a couple times like I'm doing right now, laying it over again, and I'm just checking to see if I like it in that position. And when I typically tie this fly, as you'll notice right here, I like the worm to just go straight along the hook. So right across the top and right off the top, out where the eye is. And so I think that's about good enough. So I'll pull this material back and I'll take a couple more wraps up here to lock the worm in place. Then if you have a half hitch tool, or you don't need a half hitch tool is this tool right here where it has a little hole in the front. You could take a wrap around it and go ahead and slide it up. Or if you don't have a half hitch, just use your finger. You do the same thing and you just take your finger, wrap it around. You can watch videos on this online and just slide it up. Create a nice knot right there. Pull this tight just to make sure nothing's coming loose. Grab your scissors, snip off the excess. And right there is a very simple but effective Squirmy Wormy pattern that I've used to catch numerous stock trout at a variety of different locations. That is my version of the Squirmy Wormy. Hope you guys enjoyed and maybe learned something new. Now it's time to put this fly to the test and see how we did at Passage Creek last weekend. Day on a 3-weight. It's not bad. Not a bad fish.
Oh, is that Squirmy?
Yeah. Nice. It's the only nymph we had, so. Yeah, I casted it over there before, like under the bridge. I casted it right over there. I saw a flash. He didn't go for it, but I saw a flash. I was like, I know there's a long fish right there. Yeah. I cast it again and then got him. Sweet. Thanks for netting that, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Missing a lot of the spin. Alright, there we go. Cool. We'll see it. Oh. Nice job, nice job. All right.
There he goes. Right in there.
Good game.
Looked my brother in the face.
Okay.